No, I'm sorry, Hasbro, but this is all too much.
I only wanted to do my duty.
I gotta think about what's best for me.
Good soldiers follow orders.
I think we need some time apart.
So that was a lie. Look, I know what I said. I said what I meant. If you didn't watch my review on the Black Series Boss, go check that out. It's long and rambly, but it illustrates my point and just my fury with Hasbro Black Series at the moment. So today we are taking... Today we are taking a look at FIXER and SEV from Star Wars Republic Commando from the Star Wars Black Series line. One of my favorite lines, used to be, and one of my favorite video games and some of my favorite characters from Star Wars. Now I'm going to try and refrain from repeating myself. If you're at all connected into Star Wars collecting, you probably know that the Gaming Grade subline is kind of a joke. All of the problems that I had with Boss translate to these two here. They all still use the Hunter mold from the Bad Batch, which is all based on the animated proportions and design, which is supremely inaccurate for the realistic style that the Black Series goes for. Not only that, but they all still retain the modifications that Hunter has to his armor. Significant slim down, the big ass hole on the wrist for his blade. They all still have Hunter's H on their backpack. Even FIXER, who has a modified backpack with his antenna thingies here, still has the Arabesh Hesh on the back for Hunter. There's an H. Hunter has his backpack monogrammed, and apparently so do all the Republic Commandos. It's like they spent the time to make that new tooling, albeit kind of small and out of scale. I appreciate that they put the effort in to actually give FIXER his unique backpack, but they couldn't just modify the H there. It's a new mold. It really doesn't even seem like there's an excuse for it. It's just lazy. Their blasters are all horribly out of scale, yada yada yada. But I walked into GameStop and I saw these two hanging on the peg. And I'm weak of will, man. You put Republic Commando stuff in front of me and I'm gonna buy it. I'm not proud of it, but here we are. And I will say, having these three figures together, there's something inside of me, man. A little spark, a little fire, you know, some sort of joy. I don't know what that feels like anymore. But look at it, man. It's Delta Squad. Most of them. Most of them. They haven't released Scorch yet, and I have a feeling they're actually saving him for the Bad Batch, since Bad Batch Season 2 trailer seems like he's going to be a significant antagonist, and if they kill him, I will... I don't know what I will do. So maybe we'll get Scorch released in mainline Black Series, but if they do that, are they going to give him new tooling? Are they going to actually sculpt him accurately? And if they do that, then why do we have these? I don't know. There's a lot of questions raised, and I don't have answers for any of them. But what I do know is that I have 3 out of 4 Delta Squad members on my shelf in 6-inch scale, albeit bastardized animated realistic models. There's something to be said about that. Now, all 3 of these figures are literally the same mold. The only difference being in FIXER, who has an antenna molded on the side of his helmet, and these little antenna things on the back of his backpack. Everything else is exactly the same. I still like the helmet sculpt though. It's a really good realistic Republic Commando, but it looks oversized on these animated proportioned bodies, paired with their guns that are so horribly undersized, it's almost comical. That is a sniper rifle. SEV is supposed to have a sniper rifle. Now for other bonuses, the articulation on them is pretty great. They all get a wide range of movement on almost all of their joints. The only ones that are inhibited really are the hip, but you can do a little out to the side movement to get them to move their legs up further. The only issue being is that these knee pads are glued onto the thigh pieces, so if you want to have them kneeling, the knee pad's gonna be on the side of their leg. I don't get why this is a reoccurring theme with modern Hasbro Black Series, is gluing the knee pads on thigh. It looks weird when you try to get them into naturalistic poses, and it's just like not how knee pads are supposed to work. I do appreciate that there aren't unpainted head sculpts beneath these helmets, so that the helmets aren't all warped and wonky. Man, the only other positive things I can really say is that The paint job pleasantly surprised me on SEV and FIXER. Now Boss for the most part is just white and orange. I think the orange that they picked for the Black Series figure was a bit too red, but overall there really isn't too much unique paint to them. FIXER and SEV on the other hand have quite a bit more. SEV has a very organic red paint style on him with the handprint on his head and all this blood looking stuff. And they actually captured it pretty well. It's all around the sides of his legs. His actual feet and lower legs are molded in red plastic with white paint on top of it, which looks a little off, but I can live with it. What I was really surprised about is that they actually painted his backpack, and a pretty decent amount on his back as well. A lot of times Hasbro will skimp out on the paint on the back of figures. I guess since they save money reusing molds, we get some extra paint job. The weathering effects are just some splotchy gray paint application in a few different places, knee pad and legs, and FIXER has some white scuffs in his green paint, and that just really doesn't do it for me. The Republic Commando game is super grimy, brings the prequels down to that dirty, dusty, nasty Star Wars level, and I love that about the game. These figures just don't really have it. They really needed a black or brown wash to really make them look dirty and nasty. These are Spec Ops troopers. They go through the worst of the worst. Love to see versions of these with like Geonosian blood, or like the blue battle droid gunk that they get when they stabby. That being said, I would really like stabby hands, but they also have inaccurately molded wrist covers, so it's like, it wouldn't even look right. Just like SEV, FIXER has a significant amount of more paint with this dark green all over him. I think the green's a little dark, but for the most part it's alright. Just makes the white stand out quite a bit more. Now I didn't do like significant research before filming this, so I don't know how crazy accurate the paint job is. I'll put up pictures here if there are any glaring inaccuracies I notice. Just gonna leave some space to edit that in because I'm sure there's a couple. In the end, these two figures, they function. It's FIXER and SEV from Republic Commando on my shelf, and they match the boss that they released. When they release a Scorch, it will definitely tickle part of my brain. I will be really, really happy to have all these guys in 6-inch scale on my shelf, but why? Why did I get them? In Boss's video, I said capitalism's about voting with your dollar, and if I think Hasbro is releasing subpar products that aren't worthy of my time and shelf space, why am I spending money on them? In that GameStop, I said to myself, these are some of my favorite characters in Star Wars. We may not get 6-inch versions of them again, and the only way that we would is if Hasbro thinks that they are a viable option to put money into making new tooled molds. So I bit the bullet. Bought 2 more of these figures. That's like $80, $90 I've spent on these 3 figures, and I really hope it's worth it. Because I love these characters and I love this side of Star Wars that we just don't get stuff for anymore. And I want them to make more, and I want Hasbro to know that I want them to make more, and I want them to do better. That's why I'm making this video. There's a customizer I follow on Instagram, his name's Commandos Customs, and he does some amazing customs. Like, mind-blowing at the 1/12 6-inch scale. It's crazy how this guy does it. He 3D prints, resin prints, does some fantastic work, and he has done some amazing realistic style Republic Commando clones. He's a very outspoken member of the Black Series collecting community, and he loves this line, and he loves Star Wars, and I love that about him, but he isn't afraid to call Hasbro out. If you want to look at comparisons of what these figures should look like in realistic style, and have itemized lists of, hey, these are all the things that are wrong about these figures, this isn't good enough for your premium product, I highly suggest following him. I don't know, my hope's been kind of reinstilled by the Black Series. They revealed that Bastila Shan and Darth Malgus. I mean, KOTOR, man, completely new molds. They look amazing, but they're shifting over to this plastic-free packaging, which I fully support trying to reduce one-time use plastic usage, but the 3D renders that are inaccurate to what the product you're actually getting is, with the articulation pins photoshopped out, you aren't actually able to see the figures. You don't know if you're getting one that has some horrible misprint or weird molded plastic, or hell, if someone fig swapped it. I wish they would kind of go the route that Transformers did and just have like a small window and have everything sort of tied in there and held down so that no one can just sort of yoink it out of the box but you can still see the product that you are purchasing. It's very important. Buying figures online is always a toss-up. You don't know if you're gonna get bootleg, you don't know if you're gonna get that one that slipped through quality control. And now that fear has extended to the toy aisle. I am now afraid of buying Marvel Legends and Black Series figures because I don't actually know what I'm buying. I bought one of the Halloween Clone Trooper figures, the one with the green skeleton, just because it looked kind of cool. I wanted to put a cloak on it, give him a red lightsaber. And the cashier asked if I wanted a $2 protection plan. And I was like, now I have to spend more money on these things just so I don't get screwed over. It's just leaving a bad taste in my mouth. In the end, I love Star Wars. I love Clone Troopers, I love Republic Commando, and I love 6-inch 1/12 scale action figure collecting. So yeah, I'll support the Black Series because I don't want to see it go away. But I'm not afraid to point a camera at myself and talk about the line that I love because I know that they can do better. Thanks for watching. If you have these figures, absolutely let me know what you think about them down in the comments. And if you haven't already, watch my boss video because I really go into an intricate teardown of what's inaccurate about these figures and why I think some of the defenses for them are totally moot. If you like seeing these toy videos, absolutely like this video and let me know. It really helps me gauge on what content you guys like to see. I love making toy videos, especially toy videos about my favorite video game. Thanks for tuning in to the Nostalgic Network, and I'll see you next time.